All right, let's talk about jazz. Ever wanted to crack the secret code behind those incredible solos? Well, today we're going to do just that. Let's dive right in.
I mean, have you ever seen a jazz musician just go? They're playing a solo and you're just sitting there thinking, how in the world are they making that up on the spot? It seriously looks like they're just pulling these amazing melodies out of thin air.
Well, here's the big secret. It's not magic at all. It's actually a system, a kind of secret code that anyone, and I mean anyone, can learn. And today, we are going to break that code down, piece by piece.
Okay, so where do we even start? Well, every great structure needs a solid foundation, right? In music, that foundation is the major scale. This is our starting point for, well, pretty much everything.
You can almost think of the major scale as like the parent of all the other scales we're going to talk about. It's that bright, happy, familiar sound, you know? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, that you've heard in a million songs. It's our musical North Star, our home base.
So what makes it sound that way? It's all about a specific pattern of steps between the notes. If you picture a piano, a half step is just moving to the very next key, black or white. A whole step skips a key, and the major scale has this exact formula. Whole, whole, half, then whole, 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 half. That pattern is literally the DNA that gives it that bright, stable sound.
Okay, now here's where it gets really cool. Once we have that foundation, we can start playing with it, making tiny changes to create completely different moods. And you'll be amazed at how a small tweak can have a massive impact.
All right, so check this out. We take our happy-sounding major scale. Now, what if we just flatten 3 notes? We take the 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th notes of the scale and just lower them by a half step. Boom. Instantly, the whole vibe changes. It becomes the natural minor scale, giving it that darker, more somber, kind of serious sound.
But wait, we can tweak it again. That natural minor scale can feel a little heavy, you know? So what happens if we take just one of those notes we lowered, the 6th one, and we just raise it back up? Now we've got something called the Dorian Mode. It's still got that minor feel, but that one change gives it this little lift, this cool, smooth, kind of hopeful vibe. It is a massive favorite in jazz. And if you want to hear exactly what I'm talking about, go listen to the Miles Davis classic, So What? The entire feel of that tune is built on the Dorian Mode. You'll recognize that cool, sophisticated sound immediately.
Okay, so we've figured out how to create different moods. Now let's really get into the good stuff. The scales that give you that unmistakable jazz groove. You know, that soulful sound that just makes you want to move? You know, the heart and soul of jazz and blues is this really special kind of tension in the music. It's a sound that feels like it's pulling you along, like it's asking a question and just waiting for an answer. And guess what? There's a scale that's perfect for creating that feeling.
And that scale is called the Mixolydian mode. It's actually super simple. You just take a major scale and flatten the 7th note. That's it. That one tiny change gives you an instant bluesy, funky flavor. It's the go-to scale for playing over what we call dominant 7th chords, which are just chords that are built to create that tense, where are we going next feeling.
So Mixolydian is absolutely essential. But if you want to get to the real heart of the jazz and blues sound, there's one more scale that is a total game changer. The secret ingredient here is something called the blue note. This is the special sauce. It's an extra note that musicians squeeze into the scale to get that gritty, crunchy, incredibly expressive sound that just screams blues and jazz.
And that blue note is the star of the show in the blues scale. Man, this scale is a powerhouse. It only has 6 notes, so it's a bit easier to learn, and it is so versatile. You can pretty much play it over major chords, minor chords, almost anything, and it just works. It instantly gives you that authentic bluesy feel.
All right, so we've got the fundamentals down. You ready to level up? Let's explore some of the more advanced colors. These are the scales that modern jazz players use to create some really unique, sophisticated, and out-there sounds.
First up, we have the Lydian mode. For this one, you take a major scale and you raise the 4th note. Just one little change, but the effect is huge. It creates the sound that's often described as, well, dreamy or floating, almost cinematic, like a movie score. It's this beautiful, open sound that you hear all over modern jazz.
Okay, you ready for some serious professional level stuff? The Lydian mode was dreamy and beautiful. This next scale is pretty much the opposite. It's all about creating massive, intense tension.
So what's with the number 4 on the screen? Well, that's how many altered tones we're about to use. And by altered, I mean notes that are intentionally made to sound a little wrong to create a really cool effect. We're going to cram all 4 of them into one scale.
And here it is, the altered scale. This thing is just packed with tension. When you play it over one of those dominant chords we talked about, you get this huge, intense, exciting sound that is just begging to resolve. This scale is one of the biggest keys to unlocking that modern, high-energy jazz sound.
So, wow, we've just decoded a whole bunch of scales. But just knowing them on paper is one thing. The real magic happens when you start using them. The final step is all about taking this information and making it your own. So how do you actually practice this stuff? Simple. First, always use a metronome. It's so important for building a solid rhythm. Second, challenge yourself to learn these in all 12 keys. That's what makes you a versatile musician. Third, and this is a big one, try singing the scales. It really helps internalize the sounds. And finally, the most fun part, start mixing them up. See what happens when you combine them to create your own original melodies.
Look, if there's one thing to remember from all this, it's that scales are not just boring exercises you have to memorize. Think of them as your vocabulary. They are the words you get to use to tell your own musical story. They're just tools for you to express yourself.
So now you have the secret code. You have the tools that the pros use every single day. The only question left is, what kind of music are you going to create?